The secret lives of Mormon wives. These moms can't smoke, get tattoos, they can't even drink tea or coffee, but they can chug disturbing quantities of soda, swing with each other's partners, and backstab, talk shit, and be extremely messy on TV. And in between all the drama, I was absolutely fascinated by what I'm calling the secret vices of Mormon wives. Or more appropriately, not at all secret, because if you watch this show, you cannot help but notice how addicted these ladies are to soda. There's this whole Mormon soda culture going on. And if you've never heard of this, the entire state of Utah is literally guzzling soda, lined up around the block at 6 a.m. to drink a big gulp kind of thing. And it's kind of sort of due to their religious beliefs. In other words, I have found a way to turn all the time I've spent watching seasons 1, 2, and now 3 into a video that kind of sort of fits on my channel. So today we're discussing one of my most long-standing and crippling addictions, reality TV, but mainly the Utah soda addiction and the secret addictions of Mormon wives. Plus we'll discuss season 3 and just all this other interesting stuff that I found, including apparently the Mormon church buying stocks in Coca-Cola. Also, little asterisk here, I am sorry in advance for anything that I say that is either ignorant or offensive. I feel like it's kind of unavoidable when you're talking about religion a little bit. First up, so we're all on the same page, if you've never heard of the show, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives follows a group of Utah-based TikTok influencers who are obviously all of the Mormon faith. The show follows their lives, their struggles to keep up with the rules of Mormonism in the modern world, and mostly the drama between them all. This show is kind of like the Real Housewives of like Beverly Hills or wherever, but 20 years earlier, so no one's addicted to like wine and prescription medication yet.
You're a clown.
And also, I don't know if it's because the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast is Mormon, or it's just because the Real Housewives are so unhinged, but the Secret Lives cast keeps it a lot classier than the Real Housewives class does. Like, there's drama, but there's no like table flipping or drink splashing or getting up in each other's faces and like actually physically fighting.
Everybody will know.
Never
Everybody
go
will
near
know.
my husband.
Everybody will know.
You understand that?
Everybody
Never
will
go
know.
after my
Everybody-
Judge me! No, you don't! No, I do! I've been through you are f***ing engaged 19 times? You f***ing stupid bitch!
Anyway, to introduce them, Taylor Frankie Paul is the leader of the group. She has the most followers. She created Momtok, and she's about to be the new Bachelorette. And she got the contract with Hulu when it was discovered, or when she outed that her and some other Mormon wives were swinging with each other's husbands. I feel like you hear the words Mormon next to swinging and you're like, okay, I'm listening. Do go on. Then we have Michaela, Macy, Whitney, who was recently on and eliminated from Dancing with the Stars, Jesse, Jen Affleck, who we thought was related to Ben Affleck, but now we know is not related to Ben Affleck, Miranda, Layla, and this season's current villain, Demi. These together make up Momtok. That's what they call themselves. If you still don't understand exactly what Momtok is, I didn't either, because they talk about Momtok so much on the show that it's almost like, are we on the same page here? They're always saying things like, Momtok is at its lowest point right now. Will Momtok survive this? I don't know if Momtok's gonna be okay. This isn't what Momtok is supposed to be about.
Momtok is at its lowest point right now.
And then whenever they explain what it really is and what it isn't, the conclusion they always come to is that this whole thing is about female empowerment. Except when you look up Momtok on TikTok, it's just this. But you know what? This has inspired me. It's made me realize that female empowerment comes in many forms. Which brings me to today's sponsor, Bellesa. Like Momtok, Bellesa is made by women for women. And also like Momtok, Bellesa is all about women's empowerment. In fact, that's their mission. Their mission is to help women everywhere embrace, explore, and celebrate their empowerment. And today they're doing a giveaway. Everyone who signs up at the link below will get a free Rose empowerment device with their order. Now, when it comes to women's empowerment, it looks different for everyone, and Bellesa understands that. With their wide range of empowerment tools, we are truly living in a new age of empowerment. The Rose, the huge viral TikTok sensation, has 10 different empowerment settings and is easy to hold. It's very cute and super compact. It's really not even obvious that it's for empowerment since it looks like a rose. If you want more control over your empowerment, there's a reason why the Pebble is one of Blessa's best-selling empowerment products, with 2 settings that you can dial up or down and no annoying patterns. The Pebble is ergonomically shaped so it feels completely intuitive from the moment you hold it. But Blessa takes empowerment to the next level with the Thump. This is designed to be your complete empowerment solution. With the Thump, you are empowered to customize your experience. Choose from 3 different empowerment styles with 5 different rates of empowerment, including innovative Thump technology. Simply a quantum leap forward in empowerment. Many of the devices are waterproof and TSA approved, so you can be really empowered wherever life takes you. Blessa believes that empowerment should be fun and shame-free, and everyone who signs up to my giveaway will receive a free Rose device with their order. Click the link below to sign up. Thank you to Blessa for empowering this video. Now, what makes the show so interesting is that we have these Mormon wives who are supposed to be living by these Mormon religious rules. But obviously they're soft swinging and twerking and backstabbing and guzzling soda and the whole bit. And apparently this is actually due to this strict Mormon culture literally cracking at the seams for some people. Now, if you're like me, you might not have known what Mormons are. This is a very American thing. It refers to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As a Canadian, for the longest time, I thought that Mormon was another word for Amish people. I thought this and this were the same. They're not at all. And I actually found that out when I watched Netflix's American Primeval, which is definitely not the most flattering introduction to Mormonism. This show is about a real historical event called the Mountain Meadows Massacre, where the Mormon Church in Wild West America murders 150 innocent people who were just like crossing through the area. They were just traveling through, trying to get to a better life, and members of the church militia went out and destroyed them all because tensions were really high when the Mormon Church was literally battling the United States for like control of Utah. Pretty good show, honestly, but I have a feeling it's extremely controversial with Mormons because it is definitely not a good look. Brigham Young, who is one of the key figures in Mormonism, on the show they always talk about BYU, Brigham Young University. Well, on the show, he's depicted as this super scary, evil guy. I just feel like that did not go over well. And when I watched it, I was like, wow, how do the Amish go from like all of that to like now they don't even like drive cars? And I ended up pretty thoroughly like Googling Mormonism at the time. But anyway, that was my first introduction to Mormons. My second introduction was the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And Utah is also where our Secret Lives of Mormon Wives story takes place. 60% of the population is Mormon there. There are these gigantic church temples that like tower over the skyline. Beautiful, but definitely a little ominous feeling. And it's the many, many rules of this religion that lead to a lot of the issues on the show, including the insane amounts of soda they drink. The women are subjected to various religious rules, such as no sex before marriage, which I think everyone broke the rule on the show, but I don't know for sure. Next, marriage is literally required in their church and divorce is taboo. Also, definitely a broken rule in the show because like everyone is divorced, and Layla even had a divorce party. Next, women are encouraged to have a lot of children by the age of 21, and almost all of the women have more than one child. No tattoos, no piercings, dressed modestly. Bikinis are a no. One-piece bathing suits are okay, but these are even better. Plastic surgery, though, totally a-okay. And actually, some people think that the church's rules actually encourage plastic surgery. Here are 2 real billboards from Utah. Love thy selfie. And God's remodeling his temple. Isn't it time to remodel yours? So crazy. Utah is actually the plastic surgery capital of the USA. It has more plastic surgeons than LA. And I read in several articles that it actually says that perfection is paramount, and this is taken to mean that this refers to physical perfection as well. What's up with Mormon women and plastic surgery? Not an ex-Mormon, but I live in Idaho and have frequented Utah quite a bit as well. So I'm pretty used to being surrounded by / have customers that are Mormon. My one question is, what is up with all the Mormon moms with Botox and noticeable plastic surgery? Obviously to each their own, but this just seems to be the opposite of what I would expect religious people to get into. I grew up in a very Christian religious household that was always told your body is a temple, thus making me think plastic surgery would be the opposite of that. Again, not my body, yet there's a part of me that thinks that these women are doing this out of intense insecurities brought on by the church / husbands. Is this something the church promotes, similar to Diet Coke? They view it as remodeling or renovating their temple. If their body is a temple, it must be fancified and as beautiful as possible. Plus, gotta keep that Peter priesthood interested. Can't show any signs of gasp, getting older. I thought this next comment was pretty interesting too. When I was 17, my dad told me to watch my figure. I weighed 115 pounds. He wanted me to be attractive enough to find an eternal companion. So glad to be done with that mentality. Still messes with me a bit, and I feel for Mormon women with toxic men in their lives like my dad. So yeah, there's that. Finally, there's also something that's sometimes called the Mormon Health Code. In 1883, the Mormon founder Joseph Smith wrote what they call the Word of Wisdom, that the following substances are harmful and not to be consumed: alcohol, tobacco, too much meat, tea, and coffee. Also, vaping, other addictive substances, and prescription but also addictive substances are not recommended. But sugar is totally fine. Ketamine is totally fine. Botox plus laughing gas, that's cool too.
When this momtok group gets Botox, they'll get laughing gas.
Have you never been high before?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a party.
And smoking a joint that has been in a burlesque dancer's vagina is also okay. Okay, I don't know if that one's okay. I don't know if weed is explicitly not allowed. I just really wanted to put that clip of Layla making that face. I feel like that's a pretty bold burlesque show. No, I feel like I've been to burlesque and I don't remember them putting anything like in their vaginas and then offering it to you to smoke. When I went to Amsterdam, which is actually where Blue is from, long story, you go to the red light district, you go, like, one of the tourist attractions is to watch an actual sex show if you've never been or heard of it. They do a lot of stuff pretty similar to that. I feel like that's the kind of thing, if you go to Amsterdam, you absolutely have to go no matter what your age, provided you're older, not younger. It's literally little interactive moments like that, except maybe a little bit more extreme, plus shows of people like mechanically getting it on. But anyway, back to the Mormon church. For a while there in the Mormon church, you couldn't have caffeine at all because logically that's the addictive component in both coffee and tea. Except in 2012, the church confirmed that caffeine was a-okay, just not in coffee or tea format. So what's left? Energy drinks, various herbal consumptions, and of course, soda. Now, quick but interesting side note, there is this huge rumor that the LDS Church totally changed their tune on caffeine because the church bought stocks in Coca-Cola. This is just a Reddit post. It's not evidence or anything, but it kind of shows you what the rumor is. It's actually pretty simple. Church doctrine changed when a Mormon holding company bought stock in both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. Not outright ownership, this is an old myth, or even a majority stakeholder. But even 1% of Coca-Cola stocks would be an astronomical amount of money. That's when they changed it to hot caffeine bad, cold caffeine good. They've since cleansed their investments, which also included Philip Morris, the tobacco company, and Raytheon, a defense company. And the poster did link to this report here, but when I looked it up, half the sources were like, no, that's a terrible rumor, and the other half were like, there's evidence, it happened. But anyway, Mormon soda culture was born. Mormons were given the green light to drink caffeine, and drink caffeine they did. Utah has become the land of the drive-through soda shop. From Swig to Sodalicious, from Fizz to Quench It, and more. People in Utah skip the morning Starbucks routine and line up for soda instead.
6 out of the 7 days of the week, I'm having at least one 44-ounce soda.
Yes, a 44-ounce, and I drink it in like an hour. I'm probably only gonna live to like 50, but...
In every scene in the first few seasons of Secret Lives, these ladies are chugging soda, okay? Hanging out at a local soda shop or having an open bar of sodas and Torani syrups. And you know what else? Most of them drink a 44-ounce soda. That is 1.3 liters. And I was trying to get some context for this because I know that in the USA, you guys have bigger soda than we do here in Canada. So I'm like, is this exorbitant? Is it normal? And I found this Reddit post of people talking about the biggest soda in the USA. They say, what fast food place gives the largest pop? And it has to be a common place, especially McDonald's, Wendy's, Timmy's, KFC. First answer is Route 44 at Sonic. Came here to say this. The Route 44 is a beast. Guess how big the Route 44 is? It is 44 ounces. So yeah, the drink that people are describing as an absolute beast and a literal outlier of soda is one of the most commonly consumed quantities by these ladies on the show. And of course, they're not just drinking any old soda, they are drinking a dirty soda. To make a dirty soda, you start with regular soda and then you pump it full of like Torani syrups, some coffee creamers, and possibly some fruit puree or even candy. Swig's most popular drink is called the Texas Tab. It's Dr. Pepper, vanilla, and coconut cream, which is Taylor, Jesse, and Jen's favorite drink. I have to admit, okay, I have to out myself. If we did have this in Canada, in sugar-free. Dr. Pepper, vanilla, and coconut cream and sugar-free, I would say fuck it. I would be in that swig lineup. And interestingly, this whole soda culture thing has a huge overlap with mom culture in general in Utah. Apparently moms, like the women on the show, are one of the biggest demographics of soda drinkers. Today we took 150 to 200 orders, probably in an hour, said Grace Walker, an employee at Whips, a local soda shop. A lot of moms come through the drive-thru and they're regulars. We see them at least once a day. Some even come through twice a day with their kids. The church's clarification on caffeine has given many mothers, in particular, the freedom to indulge. Women make up a large majority of soda shop customers, especially mothers who grab a drink between dropping off and picking up children from school. Moms can't function without caffeinated beverages, said Miss Durfee, a Mormon mother of 2. We're exhausted, she said. I don't know a single mom who cannot go through the day without some form of caffeine. I think that has definitely aided in the popularity of soda shops because LDS women can't have coffee, they can't drink alcohol, so their vice of getting that relaxation, that energy, and that whole kind of ritual, I guess you could say, I feel like soda is their only option. I feel like this has to be enhanced by the fact that mothers in Utah have, on average, more kids than any other state. And one thing I will say is, unlike in my diabetes in a cup video about those super sugary coffees, a lot of people here seem to be drinking sugar-free soda. Now that's pretty interesting to me because here where I'm from, I would say most people drink full sugar soda. I wouldn't say it's rare to drink sugar-free at all, but it's not as common. And in Canada, we have way less flavors of like sugar-free. So to me, I wonder, is this an American thing or is this like a Utah thing? Now, from what I've seen, this is likely better than drinking the full sugar version. It's certainly better calorie wise, and it doesn't come with that unique health effect of liquid sugar that we talked about in this video. But based on recent data, it likely comes with its own set of health risks that we don't quite understand yet. It's funny though, take away the coffee, take away the tea, take away the premarital sex, and humans will find a new vice. We're like, oh, well, I can't have sugar and caffeine, right? Okay, great. I'll just drink 44 ounces of carbonated syrup instead. You know what I mean? It's just such a human thing. Take away all our vices, we'll find a new one. And you know what's crazy? Seeing these ladies guzzle these sodas in every single scene actually created like a cultural moment around dirty sodas. Swig opened even more locations outside of Utah. Crumble Cookie got in on the dirty soda action. People all across social media are posting their secret lives of Mormon wives inspired drinks. And obviously Utah soda culture is super real. We literally just talked about it. But after watching season 3 and then going back to write this video, I'm pretty sure that at least in season 2, a lot of the soda hype in this show was just a big sponsorship. First up, the Poppy sponsorship was obviously insanely obvious. I mean, the women would just open their fridge and all of a sudden, oop, full of Poppy. Then they had that whole Poppy drink bar thing where they had these custom Poppy dirty sodas, but they were served in the Poppy can so that the brand recognition was still obvious. Then there's all the Swig stuff. They're like constantly showing like the Swig logo and like them directly going into Swig. And it's happening so much that you're just like, oh yeah, that's just how much they go there. But then in season 3, there's none of it. None of it at all. I watched almost the entire season. I have like a couple episodes left, hoping to get some footage or something to discuss about this soda stuff. It wasn't even in there. I might have missed some because I wasn't paying full attention, but it really wasn't there. It was not the focus that it has been. And this is likely due to it being a sponsorship in the past. I think in season 1, it was totally organic. It was just them talking about their very real soda culture. And then in season 2, just pumped with sponsorships. One red flag that you're seeing a sneaky sponsorship is the fact that a lot of the other bottles, the competing soda things, were blurred out. That means that there is a sponsorship in the video that is competitive with that other brand. And you know what I don't get about this? On YouTube, say, right? Like when I do a sponsorship, I check a little box. I'm supposed to make it very clear that it's an ad. I have to be like, hello, this is an ad. You are listening to an ad right now, which I think this is all a very good and important and transparent thing. But in TV, it's the complete opposite. Both are under FTC guidelines, but for some reason TV, it's like they tried to do the most to make it super sneaky, to make it organic, to make it seem like this is just what they're really up to. It's just so odd to me that there's such a major difference between the two things, but they have the same goal and they're both regulated by the same company. So it's just kind of like, but yeah, overall, it really is crazy how these ladies can't drink coffee or tea, but they can absolutely guzzle soda. It's so crazy that these strict religious rules end up creating these like contradictions and loopholes and problems. I mean, Utah has even become like the reality TV capital of the USA because it's spawning so many interesting stories like The Secret Lives. All the polygamy reality shows, they're from Utah. Sister Wives, Utah. 3 Wives, 1 Husband, Utah. My 5 Wives, Utah. Escaping Polygamy, Utah. And I actually didn't know this, but I found out that every major polygamous group in the USA is an offshoot of Mormonism. I had no idea that all of the polygamy that I've ever heard of in America is all from Mormonism. Again, because up until recently, I thought that Mormons were Amish and I didn't really know about their culture. Another crazy TLC show based on issues with Mormon rules is the 2015 classic My Husband's Not Gay, a show that follows the lives of 4 Mormon men living in Salt Lake City, Utah, who are attracted to men but married to women. They marry women even though they're not into them because otherwise they can't go to heaven in their religion. They need to be married. Now, through a loophole, they can identify as having same-sex attraction. So that's okay, but they still have to marry a woman. So it leads to this situation that doesn't work for either party.
He's a very good-looking guy.
Actually, if you're curious about any of this stuff, though, more in depth, you should go watch Alyssa Grenfell's videos. She's an ex-Mormon who makes tons of really interesting videos about Mormonism and stuff like this, and she goes into really niche topics about it. Her videos are so good and in depth that they're actually pinned on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives subreddit. So now for anyone who's made it this far, it's time for my takes on season 3. I had written a whole bunch of stuff here, but I deleted it because I go back and forth on what's real and what's fake in this show. Half the time I'm convinced like every storyline is fake, and the other half I'm just like debating with myself about it. Obviously, all reality shows are fake to some degree, and this one at times feels like the fakest ever. Not to mention, one of the things that made Taylor really successful on TikTok was she would like make up little narratives and stuff. Like I remember for a while there, people thought she was 50. She knew what she was doing with the swinging scandal. She's always drumming up like little fake drama on her TikTok. So
I know how Taylor can be sometimes, especially online and throwing up something petty just for clicks.
it's really hard to know what's real and what's fake. But I do want to talk about the friendship element of this show. Were these women actually friends before the show aired? I know they were in TikTok together, but were they actually friends? Because they do not act like it. The whole show is them hanging out with each other and being besties and then turning toward the camera and being like, yeah, so here's how I really feel. Like when Jessie confides in Macy and Whitney about her affair, and then they're all like comforting and sweet to her, but then they turn toward the camera and they're like, yeah, I don't know if I really believe her. Another example is them talking about Miranda being officially in Momtok, like proving herself to be in Momtok when she's already been on the TV show for a full season and a half. And it seems to be obvious that they actually do have a friendship beyond the TV, like they at least talk. So the fact that she still needs to prove herself to be in their group, like is this just fake manufactured drama or are these girls seriously this catty? Now I know some people speculate that this is their real dynamic and it's due to the way they were raised, like something to do with the whole everything we just talked about in the video, but it really is like teenage girl to maybe early 20s dynamics when most of these women are like 30. I feel like it's so common when you're younger to have friendships like these where you actually just don't really like each other that much and it's extremely obvious. I've had a lot of those when I was younger where it's like the moment the other person leaves the room, you're like talking shit. Like there's so much of that as like a young woman where you're like many people in your friend group can be people that you actually hate, but you typically grow out of that by like mid-20s, late 20s at the max. The whole thing reminds me so much of this one friendship that I had in my early 20s. I spent a lot of time with this one specific girl purely because she lived a stone's throw away from me. I could literally chuck a stone and hit her house, and she didn't like me that much either. It's not like I had like one-way feelings. This was a relationship of convenience. Like it was kind of like a business deal. It was like, thank you for hanging out with me and drinking alcohol with me whenever we are both available. But every time I would hang out with her, it would affirm why I shouldn't be hanging out with her. And I would immediately go and talk shit about her afterwards. Because every time we hung out, she would say and do the most unhinged stuff. Like, I kid you not, this is a story that she told me, okay? She's like, yeah, my best friend's mad at me. And I'm like, oh, why? What's wrong? And she's like, well, she broke up with her boyfriend, right? So him and I had sex. And now she won't even talk to me. And it's like, you guys were broken up. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd be like, no, I don't know what you mean. You had sex with your best friend's boyfriend? And I kid you not, she said, they were broken up. And then she got all mad at me for not being on her side. But I never learned. I just continued to go and hang out with her. A week later, she literally ditched me at the bar to go and sit with a guy who she went and gave a hand job at the bar. She was also the type who, like, any guy you were into, she would end up with their phone number. Like, I would never see the interaction go down. But she would always have their phone number, and that would apply to me or anyone else I brought around. The type of shit she would do was just so unhinged, and I just so openly did not like her. And yet I would hang out with her week after week after week. But I feel like that is so common. Like that's just part of like your early 20s, like your late teens, like that is just part of life. And the friendships on this show give me that energy and only that energy. If you are in a friendship group like this, run far, far away. Or at least recognize the friendship openly for what it is so you don't get dragged down into the mud. Now, some people say that these girls are bad friends because they went from like high school to having babies and getting married and they haven't had a moment to focus on themselves. But I assume there's some of that and then the rest of it is just the show being a reality show. I hope. I just think there's no way they're not all working together to make this show as dramatic as possible. But it looks like my camera is overheating again, so I'm just gonna cut this short and I'll just leave it on the fact that Whitney was robbed. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. We'll just, I guess we'll just wait for him to be done. You comfy?